Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Q&A show on Inside the Birds YouTube channel. I am one of your co-hosts, Jason Avant. I'm here with my teammate and brother, Quintin Mikell. Q, say what's up to the people.
What's up, everybody? Back at it again, man. It's not the best of times, but yeah.
Our birds are sliding down the track backwards right now, getting destroyed, mollywop, manhandled, dominated, crushed, whatever word you want to use, whatever adjective you want to use. 33-13. They lost 2 straight, both by 20 or more points. Let's start off the show with a few questions, man. Like, how are we going to be able to get out of this rut and figure this thing out, Q?
Well, I mean, I think the biggest thing is, first of all, I do see progress with the defense. I know the score doesn't say it, and we'll get into that in a little bit, but I do see progress with the defense, okay? Offensively, I think it was a little bit uncharacteristic, especially with all the fumbles in the opponent's territory. So a little uncharacteristic of this team. So I'm not ready to lose all faith. I just think that they need to buckle down and get back to the basics. Buckle down, focus on the fundamentals, silly stuff, tackling, keeping your heads up when you're tackling, right? Holding on to the football, just silly stuff like that you kind of gloss over as the season progresses. So I still have faith in this team. I think that they can right the ship, but they've got to realize, like, the margin of error is really, really, really thin now.
Can this team still win the Super Bowl?
Right now, I'm gonna say
I'm open like a smoker, trying to see what you're talking about.
I think this team can win the Super Bowl. I do think that. I believe they have the roster to do it. Now they've got to go out and execute, and the coaching staff's got to get a little bit better and more creative in the passing game. But it's gonna take a lot of work.
They need a lot of work in order to get to it. I'm gonna answer this question in one moment. Make sure you email your questions to insidethebirds@gmail.com. Again, insidethebirds@gmail.com. Also, thank you guys for tuning in to the show each and every week. Special shout out to Jeff and to Adam and Josh and Greg and Clay, everyone that's responsible. Jason on the background helping out the show. We appreciate you guys for everything that you do. Zach and James, everyone that's responsible. So again, make sure you email questions to insidethebirds@gmail.com. Follow us Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, also YouTube channel, Amazon, Apple Music, wherever you get your podcast from. Q, here's my take when it comes to this team and their ability to make it to the Super Bowl. At some point, I'm going to have to start believing what I see. My heart says that this team can make it to the Super Bowl. And I've said multiple times on this show and other shows that a lot of the mistakes that are being made are manageable, and we'll be able at some point to fix it. At some point, I got to start believing that, man, maybe we can't get right in these situations because it's the same things over and over again, over and over and over and over and over again. Not understanding leverage. I don't mind if you get beat, but if you get beat doing the wrong technique and you're in one whole defense and you have an inside help defender and you're Bradley Roby, why are you getting beat on the outcut and you starting from inside position or head up position? You're supposed to be outside of him. Reed Blankenship is in the middle of the field for a reason and a purpose. Reed Blankenship, you're in cover 3. Why are you latching on to a man when Dak Prescott is scrambling to the left and CeeDee Lamb gets behind you when that's your void in the zone? Like, those types of things, like, eventually I got to start believing that this team is just irresponsible and or lazy and or just too immature or whatever it may be. Maybe it'd be bad coaching. Maybe they're not being coached hard enough. That's one of those things that I think may be an issue. You can't make this many mistakes over and over again and it not be a coaching issue.
Yeah, I agree.
At some point, that's a coaching issue because these same players have been able to do it before. The same players have been able to do it. So either they're protesting you or you're just not an effective communicator. And
Yeah.
we're gonna get into some of this, and I'll explain a few of those plays in depth. I'll explain a few of those plays in depth. Q, let's talk about the defense. The Cowboys took aim at the middle of the Eagles defense with their run game. And in the last 4 weeks, the Eagles have allowed the NFL's most rushing yards. Why is this suddenly an issue?
Uh, I honestly can't really put a finger on it. I think a lot of it has to do with tackling. We've had some injuries in the linebacking core. The front is good, and when they're in their 50 front, they're 5 D down D linemen. They're really good. They're really stout against the run. Okay, but this game especially, and I'll go to the tape in a second. In this last game, they came out in the 40 front, which I understood because the first time they played Dallas, they were attacking the linebackers, right? So I get what Sean Desai was trying to do by going with a 4 down front and then getting the linebackers and the safety roll up in the box to try to get into those passing lanes over the middle of the field. So now what that tells me is that, okay, he's understanding how teams are attacking him. He's putting the players in the right position for the most part. They are not making the plays when they're supposed to. And I got a great shot of a play here. Let's play it. In this play, you see Bayer rolling down into the box. Okay, so this is what you want, right? Running formation, quarterback under center, back is in the full position or at the home position. So we're expecting run, right? Tight end down in the box, right? We got good leverage on the outside, so we can't force anything outside. And you got a safety rolling down into the box right here. Okay. This run play, I call it duo. Some people probably call it different stuff, right? So we got a double team here, a double team here, okay? Morrow does a good job. He takes a run through. That's his gap right there, okay? Cunningham does a good job. He fills right here. This is his gap. Okay, so what you want, what the defense is designed to do is force his ball back to the unblocked player, which is Byard right here, okay? So everyone does their job. Morrow shoots. Now Cunningham's got his gap. Now Jalen's kind of getting washed here a little bit. It's tough on those double teams. I like to see him either take a knee or create a pile right there so he doesn't get completely washed. But now you got the unblocked guy right here in Byard. And if he just comes up square, right, with both of his feet parallel to the line of scrimmage. So if both of his feet are straight like this makes it a lot easier to tackle for him. But he comes in kind of turned to the side. So he's not able to get his body down low and square. And just right there, that's all it takes for a good running back like Pollard to kind of slide through there. So we got a missed tackle there, and he gets an extra 10 yards, right? This is a good tackle by Reed coming up right there. But simple thing, right? Simple stuff like this, and time again, against a good team, you've got to be able to make that tackle. You're an unblocked player. Get down there quickly, make it easier on yourself, and make that tackle. Okay, and that's in the sense kind of what's been going on, right? You got 10 guys doing their job perfectly, and then you got one guy that either makes a mistake or misses a tackle or is in the wrong position or locks on. And it's stuff like this when you play against these good teams. You can't have those mistakes.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I want to point out in that play that you just showed again, Jalen Carter. I know he's a rookie, and I know that it's a little bit different. Jordan Davis reps down in this game because of the 4-man front, right? But Jalen Carter definitely he can't get washed that far. He created a bigger lane, but also Hassan Reddick is being blocked. I know he has contained, but you can two gap and have a shoulder free, but you have to be able to dominate a tight end. And
Yeah.
he was getting blocked one-on-one by a tight end that entire game. Ferguson and Shoemaker were blocking Hassan Reddick one-on-one. And that's not usually a good sign for a defensive end at all. A defensive end should disregard or discard a tight end pretty easily. And that doesn't happen. And you can see in that clip right there, one-on-one, Jake Ferguson and Schoolmaker had him, he has to rush upfield a little bit, but you can stab and keep your outside shoulder free so you can redirect inside once you see the ball go up inside, which can mitigate that game as well. Right. So there's those things that happen. And that's the part that I want to tell you is that another thing too is that our guys, especially our contained players, the last two games are getting
Hey.
taken.
Yeah.
Their sweat is getting taken. They're able to run the ball outside of us and break contain at will at times because our guys get washed down. And we don't understand concept. There was a time where the first third down in the game, I think it was a 3rd and 2. First third down in the game, it was a reverse to Turpin. They
Yep.
were man-to-man. They put Pollard all the way out to the left side. It's Anthony Morrow. He's not in space. He's not comfortable, right, in that situation. But you got to understand where you are on the field and what leverage you have. You're the furthest man away from the line of scrimmage. There's nobody else out of there. You know automatically that you're in contained position just by playing football.
Yeah.
But he goes inside of the guy and gives up a corner, and now Darius Slay's trotting over there, and it's tough. That dude's real fast. He's going to get 2 yards at least. I'm not saying he wouldn't have got the first down. What I'm saying is he wouldn't have got a 27-yard gain if you don't get edged right there.
Yep.
Yeah.
And to your other point too about our defensive ends, you know what it reminds me of when I see some plays? It reminds me, remember Jason Babin?
Yeah, just
You
doing what the hell
remember
he wanted to do.
just flying up the field, and there are times, especially with Reddick, where you're going to take that because he's going to make more plays than
We're
not.
gonna make plays, yeah.
But I agree, there needs to be a time where you got to put the anchor down and set the edge. So
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the next question. All right, Dak Prescott, he brought a few extra seconds climbing into the pocket and sometimes getting outside of it. Do you think are the Eagles not getting enough interior pressure anymore?
Oh, interior pressure?
Yeah.
So here's the thing. We're going to be hit and miss with interior pressure at times. And the reason I say that is that we don't have that immediate gap rushing type of defensive tackle like we had with Javon Hargrave. And that's where we're kind of accustomed to, right? We're kind of accustomed to seeing Javon Hargrave beat somebody really fast and get some interior pressure right up the front. Jalen Carter is still a rookie, and he's going to have times where he flashes and beats a guy one-on-one. And there's going to be times where guys get angles on him, and it's going to take a little bit of time to develop. I thought Fletcher Cox did a great job, but it's not going to be consistent like that, especially when you are giving up so many yards in the secondary that they're getting the ball out in a quick amount of time. It's tough to get pass rush at times. So I don't think that the interior pass rush is a huge problem. I just think that we're committing more people to the back end of the defense, which causes 4-man rushes, and we're not going to be able to get home like we were at times. We're not as dominant as we were last year. That's just the truth. Yeah. I don't know what else to say, but I want to mention, because I want to show you guys something from climbing up when you guys talk about climbing a pocket. And I kind of mentioned this play already. All right, let's look at this play right here. All right, so this is the touchdown of climbing a pocket to CeeDee Lamb in this particular play. All right, I want you guys to see we're in red 3, right? Darius Slay is playing it in type of a man coverage, but he's responsible for this third. Bradbury is responsible for this third. Kevin Byard is responsible for this third. And these are underneath defenders right here. Bradley Roby is responsible for this flat. This guy is coming down into the box, so he's responsible for this flat. Let's watch this. Watch this play, right, as it breaks down. He does his job perfectly right here. He touches somebody because they don't usually touch people. That's the one thing that the Eagles secondary do not do, and it hurts them at times. They do not touch people. But now he's responsible for this flat. He's already released number 1. Now he's looking at 2. There's nobody else there. So that's a good job that he's doing. He's on the outside of number 2 right here. He's in good position. Dak scrambles. And when Dak scrambles, where's Reed Blankenship? This is cover 3.
Yep.
Reed Blankenship is supposed to be in this area where my cursor is right here. Reed Blankenship is back inside right now. For some odd reason, like he's in man. Just because the play breaks down doesn't mean that you vacate your zone.
Yep.
You still stay in that position. And yeah, the pass rush can do a better job and all that stuff, but it's still a 4-man rush. This is a perfect defense for what they call. But because they didn't execute, now CeeDee Lamb continues to play, and there's nobody in the area that Reed Blankenship is supposed to be in. And now that's an easy walk-in touchdown. How many times do we say things like this, Q? It's
Like
every week. It's every week. It's every week. That's a blown coverage in maybe the last 5 games.
Yeah. And it's a simple coverage.
You can't get easier coverages than cover 3. This is not cover 3 matching guys, and it's a bunch, and it's confusing, and there's motion, and I don't know. They lined up in this situation. Lined up in this thing. Sidney Brown last week against Debo runs across the field in that situation. Thanks, Jeff. Runs across the field in this situation and doesn't play cover 3, gives it up with the Kittle big catch. It's all the time. And it's so frustrating. Like I said, I don't mind getting beat. At least get beat doing the right stuff. If he beats you, make the quarterback make a throw. You know, but don't just give up a walk-in touchdown because we're just undisciplined and not know the hell what we're doing. All right.
That's fun. And it's crazy because
you see the same thing I'm seeing.
Oh, absolutely. Right? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's a rookie mistake.
Yeah.
That is something, this is week, but what week are we in? Week 10, 12, 13? That's something that's something you see, game 1, game 2, right? Mm-hmm. It's not something you should be seeing this late in the season for a team.
And that's why I say it's something we must can't get right. Because this is like that, like how does this happen? Like this is not the coverages that you guys used to play, they would be lost right now. Like lost. Like there's times where I'm out there on the field in practice. I'm like, what the hell coverage was that? I just beat the guy inside of me. It looked like it was cover 2, but when I came out of it, it was a dude right there waiting for me, but he wasn't a flat defender. And I'm sitting there trying to like debunk the situation in my mind. I'm like, dude, I get back to the film room. They're like, oh, that's that new funky coverage they got in. They call it cover 5, and you do this and that. I'm like, oh, gosh, right? This is not complicated at all. This is 1, 2, 3, 4. They run 4, they run 3, they run 2, they run 1. That's it. It's not complicated at all.
Yep.
All right.
You doing some algebra while you're trying to figure out the coverages?
Man. And I kind of took your the next route. We just talked about
no, you're good.
Breakdown with
broke that down great.
Stuff. I didn't see that, but
you're good.
But that's that particular play. Is there any? And I'm gonna hit this one for you. Is it fair to wonder how much the Eagles are missing Denard Wilson right now? Denard Wilson was our secondary coach last year, and the Ravens are balling right now in the secondary. Not this past game, they gave up some yards, but in general, the Ravens secondary is playing like one of the better teams in the National Football League. Are we missing him right now?
Absolutely. Who's it? DK. And it's funny because I was a big critic of Denard, and I wish he was back with us because ignorance is bliss, man. Honestly,
sunshine when she gone.
DK McDonald is the secondary coach, and I'm just at a loss of words on how. I mean, we're not even in the meeting room, right? We know the game, we play the game, but we see it, right? We see the same mistakes every week, right? We see the same coverages. We see the same offenses. They're attacking the same way, and it's really frustrating that it just continues to spiral, right? Continue to make the same mistakes. Continue to not understand where we're supposed to be in coverages. I know there's some injuries. I know there's some guys moving in and out of the lineup, but that's your job as a coach. You're supposed to get those guys right. And I remember when we played. I hate to sound like that, but when we played, if there was something if a team did something against us, like let's say the Chiefs, right? The Chiefs attacked us a certain way. We knew that week in practice, we're going to see that same route concept about 80,000 times, because what teams do, what you put on tape, they're going to attack it. They're going to say, okay, have they figured this out yet? Let's line in that formation, maybe get to it a different way, but we're going to attack them in the same way. We're going to get to a bunch and we're going to run crossers, or we're going to run that over route we keep seeing in the red zone. And so you knew that week it was going to be hell, and you were going to get reminded like 20, 30 times about that play. And that's the way that you fix it, right? The second that you shut that down, you're not going to see it again. The team's going to move on to something else. And so to me, the frustrating part is, like you're saying, it becomes coaching at this point, when it's the same mistake, getting attacked the same way each week. It's a coaching problem now.
Yeah.
And so I wish Denard was back. Long story short.
Yeah, long story. Here's my because I kind of skipped one of them, like about Sean Desai, like is there anything he can do to save the defense, right? Is there anything that Sean Desai can do in order to salvage and save this defense? And I'll just say this part about the secondary. When your coverages are super simple, teams that, hear me out. Because you run fewer coverages doesn't mean that you have to be a bad defense. Usually teams that run fewer coverages are masters of their defense. They know where the defenses are vulnerable at, because they are going to see multiple things that are similar because it's so simple. And they begin to compensate and figure out ways to cheat in order to cover things. I remember, you would think that four verticals, everybody thinks four verticals is a great concept versus cover three, because there's two seam runners and one of those guys should get the ball. Then teams that were used to being in Dick LeBeau's team, they would start to do that outside corner, start to play in the middle of both. And now the quarterback got to be perfect in order to make that seam throw work, because he can get through both. He started to overlap, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they understood their defense and they were able to make a small adjustment. Now the quarterback has to throw a rope in order to make it work. Can you make it? Yeah. Few guys can make that throw. But that was an adjustment. And just because something is simple, you're supposed to be perfect in it because it's simple. And then now, okay, this defense has this weak area. If I'm going to have any free part of me that is open, I'm going to error in that spot, because I know that they like to attack this area of the field, right? So that's how you work it. That's how you do it. If I know it's cover two and I know I have speed to the field, I'm going to cheat that way a little bit more. Yeah. Yep. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So, is there anything you can do to salvage this defense? Yeah, I think there are some things that Sean Desai can do to salvage his defense. I think you need to curse everybody out. I do. I don't know if it's happened. I just don't feel those vibes. I don't feel those vibes from these coaches. I can feel that vibe from a Dan Campbell for some reason.
Yeah.
I can, like, I don't know. I don't know about you, but I don't feel no MFing, Washburn, Jim Johnson, Marty Morningwig. Marty was cool. Marty will curse you out in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Coach Reed would get after you so bad and then won't put you in there at all. That's just how it is. And I just hope that the defense, they need it right now. They need tough coaching right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I another thing that bothers me too is I feel like, one thing that we always did as players is stay out of social media. Like, don't read the newspapers, don't listen to the radio. And I think there's something to be said for that. And I think this team is very, very sensitive. Like, we saw last week what happened with Slay and Seth Joyner.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just calling it like it is. And so to
he
me,
wasn't wrong. His delivery, Seth's delivery is always edgy. That's just how Seth is. He played the same way.
Yeah. Yep.
But go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, like, and you can tell that this team doesn't get they don't get cursed out much. Because the second that someone, one of us talking heads, in the media say something, they get in their feelings a little bit, right?
Yeah.
That's part of that toughness, that mental toughness. And I agree with you. I think this team needs to be cursed out or something, man.
Yeah, something has to happen. Somebody needs to get benched. Somebody needs to get. If we're playing this bad, somebody's getting cut.
Yeah.
Now Christian Ellis got cut. Christian Ellis got cut, but somebody say they're getting cut. Like some need to happen. I don't know. Let's get to this read, Q.
Okay. My favorite part.
Your favorite part. This Q&A podcast, it is run this week by Manscaped. Santa, baby, the season for a fresh cut is finally here with the sponsors of today's show, Manscaped. The leaders in below-the-waist grooming have just launched their 5th-generation lawnmower to help you avoid another silent night in the bedroom. Take care of your special snowflake and watch your South Pole shine like never before. Get the best stocking stuffer of all by going to manscaped.com and using promo code AVANT. That's AVANT for 20% off and free shipping. Mrs. Claus will thank you. Everybody knows the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra is the crown jewel of the holidays. Its skin-safe technology is a lifesaver and known for reducing nicks and cuts on Santa's sack. Don't forget the Manscaped Beard Hedger Pro Kit and handy electric face shaver to cover all your facial hair needs. Get rid of those nasty icicles from your nose and ears with the Weed Whacker 2.0 nose and ear trimmer. And take care of your chestnuts with Manscaped Boxers 2.0. There's even the Shears Nail Grooming Kit. Get 20% off and free shipping with code AVANT, A-V-A-N-T, at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com. Use promo code AVANT, that's A-V-A-N-T. Say ho, ho, ho to a well-groomed mistletoe with Manscaped.
Hey, it's Jeff Mosher. I love the fall because football's back, but it's also my busiest season. Between work, kids going back to school, youth sports and activities, there's just not enough time, especially to make a good home-cooked meal. That's why I love HelloFresh. They deliver farm-fresh food with pre-proportioned ingredients and seasonal recipes right to my doorstep. No more wasting time at the grocery store because America's #1 meal kit helps make home cooking easy, efficient, and affordable. We don't waste time researching new recipes and planning meals. With HelloFresh, the shopping's already done. The perfect amount of ingredients arrive with step-by-step recipe cards. How efficient is that? Plus, HelloFresh saves you time and money. HelloFresh is 25% less expensive than takeout, so you'll get a home-cooked meal without digging deep into your wallet. Don't forget about taste and selection. HelloFresh makes food for meat lovers, seafood lovers, vegetarians, and those who love variety. My personal favorites are the spicy Creole stew and pecan-crusted trout, 2 dinners my whole family enjoyed, and we actually had time to sit down together and eat at the table. Go to HelloFresh.com/50Eagles and use the code 50Eagles for 50% off plus free shipping. That's HelloFresh.com/50Eagles. Use that code 50Eagles for 50% off plus free shipping. Act now for America's #1 meal kit.
All right, let's talk about the Eagles offense. You up.
All right. So Eagles, they turned the ball over 3 times. Otherwise, they moved the ball pretty well. Is that just a difference? And is there a specific fumble? I know I have one. A specific fumble that bothered you more than another one?
One that bothers me more. So is it fumble? So here's the thing. Before I get in on the offense, because the offense, had critical fumbles by critical players. It wasn't like this was, Quez Watkins or Lamade Zaccheaus. These are your star players. When you look at the Philadelphia Eagles picture, you're going to see these 3 players at the hallmarks of your offense. You're going to see Jalen, Devontae, and AJ. You're going to see these guys. So it's just, you don't want your star players to be a low light of the day. And so that's one thing. But I will say this. I respect the way that AJ Brown approached this game. And for you guys that don't know, the Eagles got their teeth kicked in last week offensively. They were bullied most of the game, and defensively, guys getting in their face, them not really fighting back, and it really looked like punkish behavior. So A.J. Brown decided that I'm going to be the tempo and I'm going to be the enforcer for the offense. So you saw him from the first play blocking hard, getting in Gilmore's face, Bland's face, the safety's face. He took a point to say, you know what, y'all not bitching us today. It's just not happening, not a physical thing. And this game wasn't like a super physical the Eagles not fighting thing. That there were times where we were lazy and looked tired, but it wasn't because of a team was just overpowered us, were more physical than we were, right? So I give A.J. Brown props to that. I saw that on film from the beginning of the game, the first play, all the way into the end. You were the tempo setter when it comes to that. Now, I got that out of the way. Yes, I thought Jalen Hurts' fumble and A.J. Brown's fumble, the last fumble, the game's almost out of reach and you needed a miracle. But I thought those two fumbles in the situation, right? The Cowboys go down and score. We're in position to get points, and Jalen, comes up with the fumble, right? And now we're down more. And then the beginning of the third quarter, the first drive of the third quarter, you get the ball back. They score before half. You get the ball back. And there's a chance to cut this game down to 10 points, and here you go, fumble again. I thought both of those were kind of backbreakers, and they're annoying because they were just ripped out of your hands. Yeah. Those weren't like, oh, this guy timed up a punch from nowhere and it was a blind hit. No, those were in your possession, and they snatched it out of there because you're just not mindful and not understanding the team that you're playing against. So I thought both of those turnovers hurt a lot.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. Yeah, the first one was a crusher, man.
Yeah, and the first one was Donovan Wilson. The second one was Stephon Gilmore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And against a good team at home, you can't have turnovers.
You can't have turnovers, and you can't have turnovers from your special players, because those dudes are doing all the talking for the week.
Yeah,
we got to do this, we got to do that, and then you come out and you're lackadaisical. And it's those things like that: ball security, attention to detail. At some point, this team has lost its compass in their way when it comes to the things that we cherish, which is ball security, penalties, getting off the field on third down. We're just not detailed enough to win these ball games. And guess what? We're not as great talent-wise as we think we are. So therefore, the stuff that we used to be able to get away with, we cannot anymore.
That's good. That's an interesting point too when you talk about the confidence. Because that's exactly what I see too, is a team that's struggling with its confidence a little bit on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. All right. As a defensive player, could you sense when a good offensive team was going to throw? Yeah, I don't know what that is. But as a defensive player, can you sense when the offensive team was going to run it or throw it? How does that impact the preparation? No, I said that wrong. As a defensive player, could you sense when a good team is in a rut? When a good offensive team is in a rut? Like, how does that impact your play and how the preparation is? Like, do you think that they can be intimidated? They're losing their confidence. Like, could you sense that?
Yeah, you can definitely sense that. You can see it on tape. You can see it in the mannerisms. You can see, especially if a team is frustrated, if a player is frustrated, you can really tell. And so, that's something that you look for on tape, and you see how other defenses attack, and you try to emulate that. That's what I was kind of alluding to earlier, is you see what another team has success with, and guess what? The next week you're going to do that, right? So I do think that this team, this Eagles offense is in a rut. I do think that they need to get back to running the football a little bit more. I feel like we say it every week. But they're in a rut. And
Yeah.
you got to continue. And the way you keep a team in a rut is you come out early and you play aggressive and you play physical early in the game, and you take their quote unquote, you take their heart out of it. You force them into a situation where they're starting to look at each other like, oh man, here we go again. And so that's what I'm seeing these last couple of weeks. Teams coming out, they're getting after it real early. They're playing aggressive. They're not even their defensive fronts, the Niners front and the Cowboys front, they're not even respecting the run. Like they're just flying off the ball. Their motive is to attack Jalen every single play. And I've seen it 2 times in a row, and I've seen other teams do it. But especially these last 2 weeks, I think that's kind of the MO. You just play good coverage in the back end, get after Jalen, and don't even respect the run right now.
I think that the offense, and I agree with you, I think that the offense is struggling in a few areas, right? 10 penalties we had in the game total. 10 penalties in the game we had. We had Devontae Smith with 2 drops, A.J. Brown with 2 drops, both of them with a turnover, Jalen Hurts with a turnover. We had no shot against zero blitz this game. Terrible play calling versus zero blitz. I have to tell you that. And I'm not a guy that blames the offense coordinator for stuff. I'm not a guy that's going to do that. What I'm saying is that it was too long, right? Shallow crosses are not a great concept versus zero blitz, ladies and gentlemen. It's just not. Shallow crosses is good for man. It's good for like man hole and mesh concepts and things like that. But versus zero, you're going to get caught. You're going to get tackled in that situation. They're already inside leverage, so you have to beat their leverage already with a shallow cross. And that happened twice. And we didn't have necessarily a game plan for it. And you can tell that we didn't have a game plan for zero. That's always something. They didn't do much of that last game. They didn't do much zero last game. So it may have caught us off guard, but zero is a package that you always have in a game plan just for teams that like to do that to you. And so you can have something to go on. So I don't think we did well in zero coverage. And for goodness sake, let's start in these third down situations in particular. I don't want to see any more read option type of not blocking the defensive end type of concept. Man, just drop back and have a drop back game plan.
Yeah.
And read the side of the defense, right? We're trying to trick the defensive end and roll out to the left and roll out to the right. And maybe that worked last year. But it's so college. That's so college to be doing that on 3rd and 5 and 3rd and 6 and 3rd and 7 NFL. Listen, give that dude a side of the field to read it out. 1 to 2, 2 to 3, whatever it is. This is zone, this is man, this is our man hole beater, this is our zero beater, this is our cover 2 beater, like that. Give them that. Because route concepts, pure route concepts, we're not seeing them at a high level when it comes to these third downs. It's always some gadget stuff, like a fake screen pass, like over. It's something weird that is not necessarily a drop back game plan and concepts.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? It's more
no, I agree.
I'm trying to trick them. I'm trying to suck the defensive, pause. Down toward the line of scrimmage, right? To get behind him some way rather than just beating the dude.
Yeah. Do you think so? Let me ask you this: do you think that is a trust issue with Jalen? Like, do you think that they don't trust him to make the right decisions and make the right reads? Because I see it too.
He did it all last year. He was reading defenses and doing it all last year. This year, has he taken a step back in some of these areas? Yeah, he has. I can't lie and say he hadn't, that he's been seeing the field great. I can't say that. But you don't take it out of the game plan.
Yeah.
You just don't do it. You don't take it out of the game plan. You continue to coach it harder. Hey, get your footwork the right way. This is what I'm going to do for you. I'm going to get you a goal on the outside in this zero blitz, and I'm going to get you a 5 or 6 yard out. If you hit that route on time, we should be able to get 8 yards on it, right? So those types of things. And then I'm going to bring a shallow to you just in case that doesn't work, right? I'm going to give you an extra outlet. Then that's the number 3 read, not the number 1 or 2 read. You know what I mean? So I just don't think that they're calling the game plan the right way for Jalen. It's too collegey and not enough NFL. It should be NFL and then caveats and changes for college system, RPO. It's an NFL offense. And here is a little bit of this to highlight out Jalen's other attributes. But it shouldn't be all of this stuff that we're doing right now. All right.
I got you. That's deep. All right, where we at?
Yeah.
All right, so now we'll go back to that. So after the game, AJ said the turnovers are the least of the team's problems. Do you agree with him?
No. The least? No. Hell no. I think that, first of all, Derek Gunn got a report out that said we're too predictable on offense. I don't like that type of infighting. That's the start of something bad happening.
Yep. Don't
talk to the media and not put your name on it, not stand on it. Don't do that, right? So that's one thing. The other thing is that you can be predictable if you got freaking players. Everybody knew what every team in the NFL had a coat concept. And what was a coat concept? It was a 5-yard in and a 10 to 15-yard basic from the slot. You know where we got that from? The Colts, Peyton Manning, the whole league did it.
Yep.
All right. When Aaron Rodgers was in Green Bay, we had something called Packer. Packer was basically the inside guy, whether he was 3 or 2, just run to the flat fast as you can, and we throw the ball, and the other 2 guys going to block for you. Packer. Everybody knew you was going to do it.
Yep.
You know, that's how it is. And we would give the team the credit. We would name it after them. we know it's coming. It's a staple. Freaking giant pass. When Giants win the Super Bowl, they're going to run that curl concept. Some kind of way it was going to be a curl concept in there.
Yep.
Am I lying, Q?
No.
We knew it was coming. We didn't know what formation would be in there. Hey, giant pass. China. We know what's coming. But if you're a good team that can execute, even though the defense knows it's coming, it's still a hard concept because it's called properly and there's the right triangle and there's right spacing. Even though you know it's coming, if we execute it properly, we still can get open. And check this out. The last time I checked, we got freaking guys that are making boatloads of money and you supposed to be special. Our special guys weren't special yesterday.
Yeah.
Don't tell me, yeah, I'll give you some credence with that. We may be predictable. We need some coaching. We need some of that. But check this out. At the end of the day, the players got to play the game. The coaches didn't have you drop a ball on the sideline, the same over the shoulder, wrong shoulder that OBJ caught for a touchdown yesterday. It was the same play. The week before that, it was Tyreek Hill. It was the wrong shoulder. He looked up, the ball not there, turned around, caught it. You had the same one, AJ. You get paid the same money they're getting paid. That's not coaching. That's a special player making a play.
Yeah.
Darius Slay got 2 hands on the ball twice yesterday. Didn't pick it. He batting the ball. I'm like, what the hell you batting the ball down for? Pick it. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know.
I'm like, if you're a defensive back and you can get 2 hands on the ball, you can catch it.
That's
and if you can knock a ball down easily like this, you can pick it. This is supposed to be one of those, I got there at the last second, I got no other option. Devontae Smith on the sideline, the 3rd down on that little whack play where the defensive end is free Gregory. Oh, no, it was DeMarcus Lawrence. Gray's not there no, but DeMarcus Lawrence, number 90, and they had to roll out to left. It was like a 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6. They were trying to hit the flat. Devontae Smith had like a little fake and then run out to the sideline. That ball was in his hands.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? The one that
I know what you're talking about.
Made the play. If he would have caught that clean, he could have put it in his left hand. That's players. That ain't coaching. Tell me I agree that the coaching can be better. I agree with that. What I'm saying ultimately is that there's enough players to make plays and enough plays out there to be had for these games to be closer. And it shouldn't be 20-point. We should talk about 3 to 7 point loss. I shouldn't be talking about 20-point losses.
Yeah.
All right. I'm on my high horse right now.
Got to overcome bad coaching sometimes. That's what they used to say.
The coaches will tell you that.
Yeah.
Son, if you depending on coaches to get open, you're going to be out of the league. My coach would tell me that.
Kelly.
That's why we coach. All right, Q. The Eagles haven't had a run longer than 10 yards since the Buffalo game. What? In general, they haven't had as many breakout runs since the first 6 weeks in the season with the O-line and with Swift. Why is this happening? And why do you think Rashad Penny is on the roster?
Well, I think to me the biggest thing is earlier in the year we were throwing the ball more. Obviously, throwing the ball down the field. AJ Brown was a problem. So he's taking the top off. You're playing off. Defenses are playing cover 2 because they're worried about the deep shot. Now, the last few weeks, he's kind of been stymied a little bit. So now teams can roll up in the box, and now they're forced to have that extra defender down there to deal with. I still think, though, the biggest issue is that Ryan Johnson is not committed to running the ball. I think he runs the ball just enough to keep everyone happy and just enough to try to keep defenses honest just so he can throw the ball. And until they have I was looking up the stats today. I was actually really surprised by this, but Swift is actually 4th in the NFL in rushing yards. He's 178 for 822, averaging 4.6 yards a carry. The way these games have been going, I couldn't believe he's that high, because it looks like we run the ball maybe 2 or 3 times, he gets a nice gain, and then we just go completely away from it. And until this offense commits to running the football, we're not going to have any more big plays, and it's going to start to really trickle down. And we're seeing the effects of that. We're seeing Jalen starting to struggle. We haven't really been putting up points like we did early in the year, and I think that's all a direct correlation between us getting away from running the football. This offensive line can go. They can pass block. They're great pass blocking. But what they do best, in my opinion, is they run the football. They're run blockers. They're good run blockers. And I just think that they just got to put the ball in Swift's hand, man. It's just frustrating to watch, man. They got to commit to the run and keep going.
I agree with that. And I agree with that. I think part of the problem is that there's not a counterbalance. And what I mean by that is that the other team is staying on the field. The last 2 games, the teams have completed over 60% of their third downs on us. Right now, we're ranked last in the National Football League at almost 49% conversion rate on third down.
Wow,
we're 32nd in the league. We were just 46 point something last week. We already up to 48% right now. So we're last in the league. So what does that say? The offense is not getting as many possessions, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when you can't stop teams, it's tougher for you to run the ball because you feel like you're feeling like you're wasting time. And now you're scared to get in third downs and 6 and 7s, because if you're in third down, 6 and 7s, you had a chance of not converting. And if you're not converting, you're losing because they're going to go down and get points. So I just think that it's not enough counterbalance there. So once the defense is able to start getting stops, now you're more comfortable running the ball because it's not a life or death situation now. You're playing offense within the framework of a normal game where both teams are getting stops and a score is close.
That's funny.
Do you know after the first, was it the first 2 drives, first 3 drives or whatever it was, first 3 or 4 drives for this Cowboys game? It was like at one point in the game, the last 10 defensive possessions ended in 9 touchdowns and 1 field goal.
That's great. I saw that stat. That's insane.
Is that not insane?
That is insane. I couldn't believe it.
That was crazy. I was like, wait, huh?
No, good point.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So let's start to wrap this thing up. Look forward to next week. Monday night. The game was flushed from Sunday, messed up a lot of people's flight plans and stuff for the weekend for sure. I'm sure the NFL is not reimbursing anybody for the change either. The Monday night game versus Seahawks coming up here soon. What do you think that game will be like?
Oh, it's gonna be a tough game. I think Geno Smith is injured. I don't know if he's gonna be back or not. So we might see Locke. So that's a positive. Got DK Metcalf coming in. You got Tyler Lockett. You got Pete Carroll and chewing his gum and that whole deal.
And Jigba. Oh
yes, I forgot about that guy. He's playing great this year too. So obviously they got some star players over there. It's gonna be tough work. It's always tough playing Seattle. I feel like even those teams. There's some teams that you just always have a tough time playing, no matter how good or how bad they are. And I think the Seahawks is one of those teams where even when we were playing, I mean, they could be, kind of middle of the pack, and they'd always play us tough. We'd be
especially at home, especially at their house. That's a tough place to play.
It really is. It's
crazy. I think that's the hardest place to play in the NFL. That's just me.
I agree. I agree with you.
So I know people are looking at it and saying, hey, this team is 6-7 and they have a losing record and the Eagles have an easier schedule going for. This game is going to be tough because playing out there, those Northwestern fans, like that Northwest side of the country, all of those fans, like if you look at all those college fans and the pro teams out there, they are bananas when it comes to decibels and fan noise. They are crazy out there, and they root for their team, and they are part of the game. They have the 12th man out there, and it's a tough place to play. It could possibly be raining because of Seattle. So that's going to be a tough game. It's going to be a really tough game. And they're a sound team. They're a good football team. They're in a division that's really, really tough, and they've played a lot of good teams. But they're a better team than what their record shows.
I agree. It's going to be tough. You got to be ready. One thing they have to do is they got to come out and start fast on both sides of the ball. If they don't start fast and they end up behind early, it's going to be a wrap. So come ready to play.
You saw what DK Metcalf did to the Cowboys last week. Destroyed them, and our secondary is not as good as the Cowboys secondary. So, we got
all underneath throws, slants. He took a slant, 80 yards?
Yeah, it was like 60. It was right in between the post and the slant. It was like a seam
bang
post.
Eight.
Yeah, seam post, same thing. Yeah. Yep. So that's the Q&A podcast. We let out our frustration. We want our birds to win. We sounded pretty negative today, but ultimately we giving you guys the truth. We won't hold it back from you guys. That's our job, is to give you guys the truth. We want our team to win, but we got to call it out when something's not going right. We want them to be better. We want Slay to be better. We want Bradbury to be better. We want Jalen to be better. We want the offensive line to be better, the entire team and the coaching. So with that being said, thank you guys for tuning in. Adam, Jeff, Everybody behind the scenes, to the fans, make sure you email your questions to insidethebirds@gmail.com. Peace from me. Q, you got the last word.
That's it. Nothing else to add to it, man. That was great. I love doing the show with you. Have fun. And let's just hope that the birds come back next week ready to go. That's it.
Oh, I said last word. That breakdown you had was amazing, by the way.
Oh,
Amazing.
Thank you, sir.
Yep. All right, you guys. Peace.